Hello, today we are doing our last mission, mission 5, looking at scatter plots and identifying correlation. We've actually learned about correlation before. Another word for it is the slope of your points, generally the trend of the data. So I have the definition here, just a few words for you to jot down. Correlationship is the relationship between two variables, between our x and our y-axis. And if they follow a general pattern, like these points are all pretty close to going in this direction, we call that a positive correlation. The reason we call that a positive correlation is because it's like a positive slope. If we were to walk across this line, we'd be going uphill. They increase. Both numbers are increasing. However, if our points are generally following a downhill pattern, we call that a negative correlation. Meaning one number is getting bigger, like on our x-axis they're going towards the right, and on our y-axis they're getting smaller. And then our third type of correlation, if we can't put a line through any of these points, well, I mean, we could put a line through some of them, but generally following a pattern, if we can't do that, there is simply no correlation. We can't find a slope through those points. So on our next slide here, it says, what type of correlation does each have? This one we can't really put a line to, so we can put no correlation. I'm going to shorten the word to core. This one, we could draw a line in this direction. That would be a positive correlation. And this one, it would be going downhill or have a negative correlation. So they want us to match each of these situations to the graphs that are there. So tip for a meal and cost of the meal. So think about it. Your tip for your meal is dependent on the cost of the meal. The higher the cost, the more money you're probably going to leave for a tip. So I would say that has a positive correlation. Because if we look at the positive graph, the more money our food costs, the more money we would have to leave for a tip. The next one says the height of a 7th grader compared to their MCA score. Well, we could have a 7th grader that's short and have a score here, or we could have a 7th grader that's tall and have a score about there. So it really has no correlation. They're not things that are dependent upon each other. That would just be a big scatter plot, a whole bunch of random points. And the last one says the number of homework problems completed and the number of homework problems not complete. So if we just look at over here, if we put completed, and here we put not completed, well, if we complete one problem, we have a lot not completed here. If we complete a lot, we have not a lot left. So that would be a negative correlation. If you look at the other graphs, they don't make sense. If you complete a lot of problems, that doesn't mean that you're going to have a lot left. That means you have less left. So the positive correlation, x and y, are both getting bigger. Here, x and y are opposites of each other. Flip over to the back side. We're going to make a scatter plot ourselves. It says the table gives the ages and heights of 6 pine trees. Make a scatter plot of the data. Then make a conclusion about the data. And here our prediction is going to be our conclusion. So age in years and then height in feet. This is our x and our y-axis. Age or our time is always on the x-axis. So years are on the bottom here, and then height is going to be on the y-axis. So we need to get to 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I can go by ones here. I have 18 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to go every other. I'm running out of space here. 16, 18. And then height in feet. Again, we need to go to 18. I'm going to go by 2s on this side so I don't have to label every line. That way our numbers aren't so close together like they were down there. 14, 16, and 18. So let's plot our points. If our tree is 0 years old, it means it hasn't grown any, which makes sense. 0, 0. I'm just going to cross them off as we go. If it's 1 year old, that tree has a height of 2 feet. A tree that's 6 years old has a height of 4 feet. A tree that's 10 years old has a height of 8 feet. A tree that's 13 years old, right in the middle here, has a height of, what does it say, 14 feet? And then 18-year-old tree has a height of 16 feet. All right, so correlation, well, as you can see, if I circle the points here, as close as possible, we have a positive correlation. As one is increasing, the other is increasing. And then it says predict the height at 15 years. So 15 years would be right there. In order to predict the height, I circled the points, and I'm going to draw a line straight through that circle, cutting that circle in half. It might go through a point or two, and it might not. That's okay. But that line generally makes up the data. So at 15 years, right here, 15, if I follow that up to the line right there, even though there's not a point there, we could predict that that tree would be at about a height of 14 feet. 14 feet tall, that's the height of a tree at 15 years approximately. It's not going to be exact. And then our last question here. The table shows the cost per ounce, Y, of breakfast cereal when you buy X ounces. Predict whether the cost per ounce for a 22 box of cereal will be more or less than 25 cents. So right now, if we circle our points here, our correlation is a negative correlation. We're going downhill. So if I draw a line through here, cutting my circle in half, doesn't have to be perfect, we can predict the cost per ounce of a 22-ounce box of cereal. Number of ounces, well, 22 would be somewhere around here, between 22 and 25. So if I follow that up and over, I hit the line, that's when I turned. It's between 18 and 24 ounces, or cost per ounce, 18 cents and 24 cents. So is it more or less than 25 cents? Well, a 22-ounce box of cereal would be less than 25 cents. Oops, I guess cents we can put after. Come on, 25 cents. Based on our line of best fit. Now, if you drew your line of best fit a little bit differently, if yours was maybe more this way, like this, even if you're still at 22 ounces and follow to the line, you're still going to be less than 25 cents. It'll be more like 18 cents per ounce.